Hi there everybody, it's UK independent demonstrator Helzie here from slimandstylish.com. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today my card features flowers, blending, twine and pink. So you can imagine exactly how much in my element I am today. It's like a signature Helzie card. So this is the card that I've put together for my forever friend. This is actually for a friend of mine who is pregnant. She's due to give birth to a boy, which I know I should be doing a blue card, but this card is for her. So I've made a card for her, not for the baby, for her. I feel she's going to be getting enough baby things, and I've got the baby lots of presents and things like that. So I thought I would do something specifically for her. So it's using the Brushed Blooms Cling Stamp Set. I think this one is really nice, and what I love the most about it is the shading on the flowers. It makes it so easy to look really sort of textured. So I'll show you that, and I'll show you how I put it together. This does come with coordinating dies, which you will need for this project unless you want a fussy cut. Okay, so let's run through. What you're going to need is you're going to need a piece of scrap Whisper White. No, not Whisper White. Tell me off. Basic white. We changed from Whisper White to basic white, and I still have not got my head around it. I think it's just sort of what's it called? It's what I'm used to, and I haven't got used to saying basic white yet. And if history can tell with all of these others that I get confused with, it might be a few months. So first of all, there's the big rose, which is this one here, and you want to stamp it twice. Leave enough space for you to either fussy cut round it or to die cut round it. Okay. You then want to use the little rose, which is this one just here, and you want to do this one 4 times. Oh, that's close to the edge. There might not be enough room for fussy cutting. I think my Memento ink pad, which you have to use with blends. Memento is the best ink with blends. If you use Stays On, it will smudge and it will ruin the nib of your blend because it will make it all go black and horrible. Ask me how I know. I've done it. Okay. You need 2 of the buds. Yeah, I definitely think my Memento needs re-inking. So, oh, right, I will show you that. You see how I've got that line around the side? It's because I've actually let ink get on the side of the stamp. So it means when I've stamped it down, I have stamped it at a bit of an angle or wiggled it, and I haven't done it straight. So if I just do it straight this time and I go straight down, it won't be there. So if you ever get that on the side, it's because you're putting your block in at an angle and you're getting ink on the side of the foam, and you're doing the same when you stamp. I tend to go that way. I think I've got a bit of a problem with my bit of a wonky wrist. How's that? So, oh, you needed 2 of those, and that's my one that's out. I knew I was like doing the same all over the card. So just jade. And this is for the leaves. So the leaves here come on 1 stamp set, which is great, and the die cuts them out individually. 1, 2. Oh! That was me trying to balance a stamp set on a shelf that I don't have. I'm going to tell you a funny story about that as we go along. So for colouring purposes, it's a very pink card. So I have used Magenta Madness, light and dark. This one here is Melon Mambo, light and dark. This one here is Flirty Flamingo, light and dark. And this one here is Ratio Rose, light and dark. Oh, and the little buds, they're Mango Melody. And you only need the dark one of those, you don't need all of them. So as I'm colouring, and I've pointed out which is going everywhere, I'll tell you about my shelf. So yeah, I had a shelf, a floating shelf, one of those with the cool little lips on that I've seen. I think they're for like holding photos, but at the end of the flat shelf it's got a lip up, so I could put stuff on there, especially my ribbon, and it wouldn't fall off, and I was quite excited about this. But when I moved in, the previous occupants of my my apartment hadn't put a single hole in any wall, like seriously no holes at all. No picture holes, no drill marks, no nothing. Well, I own the place, so I could obviously put holes in the wall, but after they've done such a fantastic job of keeping the walls perfect, I felt it was a bit of a shame. You know, like when I have a new pack of DSP and I can't cut it because I don't want to ruin it. I felt exactly the same with the walls. So I went and looked for those command strips, which are brilliant, by the way. They've hung every single one of my pictures up on the wall. You only need to do one in Magenta Madness. They've hung every single one of my pictures on the wall, and fingers crossed, touch wood, everything, they're still up and they're looking really good, and I would recommend them for everyone. However, I put them on the back of the shelves, which they said they did do, and I put 4 on, and it said to put 2, but I put 4 because I was a bit worried that I was going to put in stuff on the shelves. Put them up, and the shelves started, they didn't come off the wall, but say the wall was like that, the shelves started going like that and was pointing downwards. And trust me, if I hadn't have took it off the wall, the whole thing would have fell. And I hadn't got too much heavy on there. Sort of, I've popped my card fronts, so I have a stack of pre-cut white card fronts. I put those on there. I put a few ribbons that I always use. That's the card fronts just gone from the shelf that I think I don't have. Honestly, I'm really bad at learning these things. So yeah, now I keep forgetting and trying to put stuff on the shelf, and of course the shelf isn't there. Shows how quick it is to get into a habit, because that shelf wasn't around for long. So you only need 1 with Flirty Flamingo. You then need 2 with Rococo Rose and 2 with Melon Mambo. I know what I'm doing. So the dark, it doesn't matter where you put the dark, just so long as you do put it in some runs so that you do get a bit of texture coming out of it. And they don't all have to be the same. I find it easier to do the same because, well, you've learned how good I am at getting into habits. So just colour around there. I do love this flower. I think it's lovely. Just pushing my door shut. I think the flat opposite, it's got a really excitable little one. I think they've just come home from school, so I'm filming after work, so it's about, well, I can't even tell you, I don't have a watch, but it must be about sort of 5:30, so I think they've just picked him up. Actually, it's a bit later than usual. I wonder if they've gone to, I don't know, stop wondering out loud, Helzie, and start colouring, because you get distracted. There we go. And then over the top. And there we are. Right, last up is the buds. And you just want to colour all of that in. Done. How simple was that? So then you just want to run these through your die cut machine, fussy cut them, whichever one you've got, and you're going to end up with loads of little pieces like these. Okay, so for the card, the only other thing you're going to need your scrap Whisper White for is for the sentiment. And the sentiment for my forever friend is going to be the one that I continue using. I'll just get my stamp case off the floor where I threw it, and show you the others. We've got Let's Paint the Town as Long as I'm Home by 9, which is definitely me after lockdown. I've got so used to going to bed early that when we can finally go out, I'm just going to fall asleep in places. You Deserve It, Just Because, and Happy Birthday. So I'm just going to ink this one up. Okay, and the Label Me Fancy Punch. I was wrong. I don't think they were coming home. I think they were going out. Because I can, I hear him out the window now, bless. Does not sound happy. Right, piece of Whisper White cardstock now for the base. This is 10 centimetres by 14.35 centimetres. And what you want to do first of all is you want to line up where your sentiment's going to be, and I've put mine towards the top. And then you want to play with these two stamps. So you've got this one here, which is a bit like a leopard print, and you've got this one here, which is like a paint smudge. Now there's two paint smudges in the set. There's this one here, which is the light paint smudge, and then you've got this one here, which is double. I'm going to be using this one here. Right, so for these, I'm using Soft Seafoam and Smoky Slate. Now use one of the bigger roses as a guide. So this is where I want my sentiment to be. That's where my rose is going to be at the top. Okay. So move the rose, move the sentiment and stamp so that you can see that that's going to come out the side. Now pop the rose down the bottom and do exactly the same. So move both and stamp so that you can see that you're still getting it around the outside. Okay, line your sentiment back up. This time you're playing with the Soft Seafoam. And you want to pop this smudge through the back of the sentiment, okay? So it's going to form like a line at the back. So just go over it both sides, and that's going to look messy in the middle, but that doesn't matter because you're going to be covering it up like that. Okay, so the final bit for in the middle, I'm just going to grab some seal and I'm going to run a thin strip along the centre because I'm using the Playful Pets twine and I want to keep that in place while I decorate the card. So I'm just going to run that across, leaving about 1 centimetre at each end. Grab my snips. There we go. So that's just going to keep that in place for me until I decide to tuck it behind. But if I tuck it behind now, I'm going to have glue on the back of here, which means I'll have to put it on my card base. And then if I go wrong, it's a very expensive mistake. So I would rather do it now and save my card base and my bits and pieces for other cards if they go wrong. But it's not going wrong, we're going right. Okay. So you want to start off with some dimensionals. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the dimensionals on. So I'm going to put them on my twine so it holds it in place even more. Okay, so I'm going to put one over there and one over there. Then when I put my sentiment on top, it's going to hide them. Now I'm double dimensioning. Try saying that quick. I'm putting 2 on so that I can get some real layers off this card. So if you can see, I've got everything up on all different layers on this card. So 2 dimensionals on this section. Whip the backs off and stick your sentiment down. Okay. Then you want to play on the roses, so start with a big one. Now I've put the dimensional right at the bottom of the rose, the bit I'm going to push in, and that way I can put my layers and bits around it because I know I'm not going to hit the dimensional. So I'm just going to pop that in there. I'm going to do the exact mirror image with the Flirty Flamingo rose on the bottom. Okay, and make sure that's all stuck down. Then I'm going to be using the Rococo Rose little ones. And I'm going to pop those underneath on the side about there. So for that, I'm going to just use a glue dot on the back of each one. Okay, so we've already got everything at different levels. This rose is higher than this one, which is lower, and it's just tucked behind. Okay, next up, I've got the little buds. Put a glue dot on those, pop them underneath, and just pop them coming out to the side. And by nature, it means you've put the glue dot at the bottom. The top bits are going to then lift off and give you even more dimension in those areas. Finally, the bright melon mambo, that's going over the top at the bottom of the card like that, so you can still see everything underneath it. And exactly the same at the top up here. Okay. And then you want to play with the glue dots and the leaves. So I've put them all together, well, 2 of them together to create like a little V. So 1, 2, 1. I just think it gives a nice pop of colour other than the pinks that's going on. With nothing wrong with being very pink. I'm a big fan of being very pink, but just breaks it up a little bit. And I think I must have cut myself. Oh. A load of spare roses for some reason. So I obviously thought I might be going wrong. I obviously didn't have much faith in me. So to finish the card off, you want a piece of thick basic white, cut in half, scored in half, folded and burnished. And then you want to stick this onto the back, and I'm sticking it flush, so that means I'm just grabbing my snail seal. They've changed the name of that. See, I'm no good when people change names. I get stuck. Creature of habit. So bend that over, bend that one over. All these people that was sitting in my store looking for whisper white and looking for seal, and they won't, sorry, snail, and they won't find them because they're seal and basic white. So there we are. I'm going to pop a little bow on here, so I'm just going to tie that into a bow. Not doing that very successfully. I think I'm doing it a bit fingers and thumbs, but we'll get there. There we are. And then another glue dot, and just adhere that onto the side ribbon part of the card. Finally, just to add some glimmer, I'm going to pop a couple of rhinestones on, because we all know I love a bit of glitz. Can't resist it. So I'm just going to grab 3 of those and dot them around the top, and I'm using the very, very little ones. And 3 of them there. Dot them around the bottom. And that is the card finished, using a lovely Brushed Blooms stamp set. Hope you liked it. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. You can also head over and follow me on my Instagram and Facebook pages. Just search Sim and Stylish, and hopefully I will see you again soon. Don't forget, everything I've used today is available in my store. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Bye. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. All items that I have used on this video are available to purchase from my store, www.slimandstylish.stampinup.net. Alternatively, if you would like a copy of our catalogues, please send me an email to slimandstylish@live.co.uk or leave me a comment below and I'll get in touch with you. I upload regular content to this channel, so if you do enjoy watching my tutorials, please make sure that you have subscribed and rang the bell to get notifications when new videos go live. Thank you for joining me and have a lovely day.